Hello everyone, I'm back with a movie review, and since I'm returning with a review of the Detective Pikachu movie, I thought I would evolve with some new character slides. Also, I'm a Wolfski. Well, I've actually been one on and off since 2010. Anyway, like a lot of people, I was really apprehensive when I first saw the trailers for the Detective Pikachu movie, a live-action Pokemon movie. Most of that came from the shock of the art style for the Pokemon. Once that initial shock of the style change wore off, I thought that the Pokemon looked fine. The Pokemon designs in the movie look a bit odd in places, but I believe the animators did a good job finding a middle ground between the cartoony style of the games and real-world animals. I appreciate that they bothered with trying to stay true to the aesthetic of the games while also grounding the designs in reality. You would think that would be standard, but no. The other big stigma this movie had to overcome is the reputation of video game movies being pretty terrible. I will say up front that Detective Pikachu is an okay movie, and that is rapturous praise for a video game movie. That bar is low. Really low. I wouldn't call this movie outstanding, but it was watchable and entertaining. Ryan Reynolds is pretty good as Pikachu. I was worried he would be too distracting as Kidz Bop Deadpool, but he was able to provide his own charm to the character and made Pikachu unique. Another thing this movie did right is that it did not try to be a direct adaptation of a story from any other Pokemon media. It is only connected to the Detective Pikachu game by there being a Pikachu that wears a hat and talks. We also don't have any live action counterparts of the game characters or the anime characters. If there were, it would draw too many comparisons and they'd probably be negative ones. However, I wouldn't call any of the characters in this movie particularly unique. Most are fairly standard archetypes that don't go far beyond those stock traits. I started writing this review the same day I saw the movie and I can't remember most of the human characters' names. There were some bits of fan service that were a bit forced. For example, there's a brief scene where Pikachu sang the English theme song from the Pokemon anime to himself, but thankfully most of the fan service is mercifully more subdued. There was one fan service moment that was a smack on the head giveaway to a plot twist if you knew the reference. I'll get to that in the spoiler bit of the review. While the human characters were generally decent, the one that I think was overacted was the company founder's son. He was a bit too cartoonish compared to everyone else, and I found him to be more distracting than any of the Pokemon. The story is a bit convoluted and relies too much on hologram recreations and psychic memory projections to give exposition and misdirection. It felt like hand-holdy and lazy ways to convey the story, but at least we could tell what was going on. The first two acts are decent, but I have a few problems with the third act, which is messy and relies on some BS plot devices. Now we're coming to the spoilers. If you don't want any spoilers, please skip to this time code. Our protagonist is named Tim Goodman. Yes, good man. So the plot starts with the disappearance of Tim Goodman's dad, who was a detective and the original partner of the titular Pikachu. He goes to find out what happened and discovers a Pikachu who sounds like Deadpool, but without the sex jokes. The conflict kicks off when Tim arrives in his dad's apartment in Rhyme City and opens up a vial containing an unknown gas that causes Pokemon that breathe it in to become vicious for a short time. There is a corporation that built Rhyme City and runs the local news station where the female protagonist Lucy works. The company was founded by a guy in a wheelchair and is run by his son. I don't remember their names or the name of the company, and you probably won't either. I just know that it isn't Silpho or Davenport, so your memories of Steven Stone won't be harmed by these two forgettable, lame characters. Like I mentioned before, the son is a cartoonish jerk. His main purpose is to be a red herring for the real villain, who is his dad. One thing that makes the dad so forgettable as a villain is that he is a twist villain. It is worse because he is an obvious twist villain and so bland. When Tim goes to his office for the first time, there's a statue of Arceus behind his desk. For those who don't know, Arceus is the creator god in the Pokemon universe. So a giant gold statue of that Pokemon in someone's office just screams, "Look at me, I have a god complex." Aside from that, he really doesn't have anything going on in terms of a motivation. He just wants to transfer his consciousness into a Pokemon, then do the same to other humans because he thinks it's a good idea. So to make his plans work, he captures a Mewtwo and transfers his consciousness into the Mewtwo so that he can use Mewtwo's power to transfer the consciousness of other humans, along with their bodies for some reason, into Pokemon that are agitated by the gas he created. And Mewtwo has the power to transfer consciousness and bodies because why not? So we have an obvious twist villain spreading gas throughout a city to take it over. I guess they flipped a coin for either the villain having a gas-based scheme or a sky laser-based scheme and landed on gas-based scheme. When the movie was over, I thought of the Wonder Woman movie from 2017. I gave that movie a positive review, but recognized that the twist villain was lame and that the third act was messy. Both villains used gas in their schemes. Another bizarre coincidence is that Wonder Woman is considered the best movie in the DC cinematic universe, while Detective Pikachu is gaining praise for being the best video game movie. It's an odd coincidence. Overall, Detective Pikachu has its weaknesses, but its flaws do not weigh down the movie to the point of making it irritating to watch. There is a lot of charm in the film and a lot of effort put into making the world look real. And given the precedent set by previous video game movies, this could have been so much worse. The story and human characters are lackluster, but the makers did a decent job with this property and iconic imagery. I would recommend Detective Pikachu. It is a fine movie that will entertain kids and give adults a delightful nostalgia trip that feels fresh. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all next time.